I thought my wife was cheating on me. So one night, I decided to follow her. She drove across the city and stopped in a quiet hotel parking lot. A man was already waiting there. He handed her a sealed envelope. At that moment, I thought I already knew the truth. But instead of going somewhere private, she drove straight to a police station. Inside the lobby, a detective opened a thick investigation file. My wife looked at the pages and suddenly froze, because inside that file was a surveillance photo of me. That's when I realized something terrifying. My wife wasn't cheating on me. She had hired a detective to investigate me. I think my wife might be cheating on me. At first, it was small things. She started smiling at her phone, then hiding the screen when I walked into the room. Last night, she said she was going for a drive at 10 at night, and when I checked her location, it was turned off. My wife has never turned her location off before. So today I decided to test something. I told her I'd be working late, but instead, I followed her. And where she stopped made absolutely no sense.
So I followed her. She didn't drive far, just 10 minutes from our house. She stopped near a small hotel parking lot, and that's when my heart started racing. Because I thought, this was it. This was the moment I'd finally see the truth. But what happened next was not what I expected. She didn't meet another man, at least not the way I imagined. Instead, a stranger walked up to her car, a man in a suit holding a briefcase. They started talking, and then I saw something that made absolutely no sense. He handed her an envelope. What was inside it? So now she had the envelope, and I still had no idea what was inside it. Money? Documents? Proof of something? I stayed in my car, watching from across the parking lot. The man in the suit walked away, like their meeting was finished. But my wife didn't leave. She stayed beside the car, just staring at the envelope, almost like she was afraid to open it. Then, finally, she looked around the parking lot and slowly opened it. But from where I was sitting, I couldn't see what was inside. And that's when something strange happened. Her face changed completely, like she had just seen something shocking. What did she see in that envelope? The moment she looked inside the envelope, everything changed. Her face went completely pale, not guilty, not nervous, scared. She quickly put the papers back into the envelope. Then she looked around the parking lot again, like she suddenly felt unsafe. That's when something even stranger happened. She pulled out her phone and immediately started calling someone. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but the conversation looked serious, very serious. She kept looking around the parking lot while talking, almost like she thought someone might be watching her. And then suddenly, she ended the call, got back into the car, and drove away. But where she drove next made absolutely no sense. I stayed behind her car, following at a distance. At first I thought she was going home, but she didn't. Instead, she drove to a part of the city we never go to. A quiet street, almost empty. And then she stopped in front of a building. Not a house, not a restaurant, not a hotel. A police station. She grabbed the envelope, got out of the car, and walked straight toward the entrance. That's when I realized something. Maybe this wasn't about cheating at all. Maybe something much bigger was happening. The person waiting for my wife inside that police station was the same man from the parking lot. The man who gave her the envelope. He was standing near the front desk, calm, like he had been expecting her. My wife walked straight toward him, still holding the envelope tightly. They started talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but something about their conversation looked serious. Very serious. Then the man opened his briefcase and showed her something inside. That's when my wife's expression changed again, even worse than before. She looked terrified. And then, she slowly turned her head toward the entrance, toward the door I was standing behind. Like she suddenly knew someone was watching her. The moment my wife looked toward the entrance, I thought she had seen me. I froze, completely still behind the glass door. But she didn't say anything. She didn't walk toward the door. Instead, she slowly turned back toward the man with the briefcase. The detective leaned closer to her and said something that made her face go pale. Then he slowly pushed a file across the desk, right next to the envelope she was holding. My wife looked down at the file and started flipping through the pages. Her hands were shaking. Whatever was in that file was clearly about someone important. And then I saw something that made my heart stop. One of the pages had a photograph on it, a photograph of someone I recognized immediately, because the person in that photo was me. When my wife saw my photograph in that file, she looked completely terrified. Not confused, not angry, terrified. She immediately looked up at the detective, like she needed an explanation. The detective stayed calm, almost too calm. Then he slowly pointed at another page inside the file. My wife looked down again, and her expression got even worse. Her hands started shaking. Whatever was written on that page was clearly about me. Then something strange happened. My wife suddenly turned toward the entrance again. This time, she looked directly at the glass doors, right where I was standing, like she finally realized someone was watching. And for a moment, our eyes almost met through the glass. But the detective noticed something too. He slowly turned toward the entrance, toward the door where I was hiding. When my wife realized the investigation file was about me, she looked completely shocked. She quickly flipped through more pages, page after page, each one filled with notes, photos, and dates. The detective stayed silent, watching her reaction carefully. Then he slowly pointed to one specific page, a page that looked different from the others. My wife stared at it for a long moment, and then she whispered something I couldn't hear from the entrance, but whatever she said made the detective nod. Then he turned the file toward her and revealed one last photograph. A photograph taken only a few days ago. A photograph of me, standing somewhere I definitely should not have been. Because that photo proved one thing. Someone had been watching me for a long time. When the detective revealed the final page in the file, my wife suddenly froze. Not shocked, not confused, frozen. The detective calmly explained something to her, something that made her slowly sit down. Then he pointed again at the photograph, the surveillance photo taken a few days earlier, the one showing me outside that building late at night. My wife looked at the detective and asked one question. "Are you sure it's him?" The detective nodded. Then he showed her another page, a page with several photos, different nights, different places, all of them showing the same person, me. That's when my wife finally understood the truth. She didn't hire the detective to catch me cheating. She hired him to find out what I had been secretly doing. Because the detective had just confirmed something terrifying. Someone had been following me for months. and now my wife knew exactly why. Follow and comment if you want Season 2.